Brilliant. Omer, thank you very much. And I hope Omer is ready to come and join in. Omer, great to see you.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Except the fact that my AirPods just broke 10 minutes ago. All good, thank you.
Uh, well, can I say, sound is good. You're very clear, which is absolutely
Excellent.
brilliant.
So
Uh,
eager to start.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, look, without waiting any further, let's jump straight into your Q&A session. I'm going to start first with Stephen's question. Stephen's asked, considering Conway's law, how in an enterprise scale team of teams, do you ensure you're not building silo walls between agile teams?
I would say, first of all, it's a big challenge, okay? And the way to ensure that is having the leadership actually convey the culture of Agile from top to bottom, okay?
Yep.
Everyone needs to understand the business goals of the organization as a whole and the business value that needs to be conveyed and delivered to the customers. This will create the collaboration between the different teams and the different line of business units and so forth, and then the delivery teams will get aligned. I think this is the most important piece here. Everyone talks about, in safe scaled agile framework and so forth, talks about leadership and lean collaboration at the top. This is a key aspect here.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. And Stephen, again, if there's any follow-up questions, please do come back on. The next we've got is an anonymous one. Not everybody needs to add their name, but just asking the question, any specific examples of this working across large businesses and not just individual teams? Do you have any of those through the sort of the micro-focus world that you're in?
Definitely. So as probably the audience know, we work with most of the Fortune 5,000 companies out there. And our DNA is the quality domain for years, more than 20 years. And I think that the quality practice was very well defined in when we mostly used waterfall. In some cases, waterfall will be used forever, mainly in the highly regulated environments and so forth. That's probably another great discussion to have.
For another day, yes.
For another day, exactly. Having said that, Agile was born from the team level. Okay, it was born bottom up, which then made a lot of our customers struggle with implementing enterprise Agile because they have seen the individual teams accelerate and being able to provide more value, but not actual business value, which is prioritized by the managers. So aligning those agile teams, not sacrificing quality for velocity, and making sure that the individual teams and line of business actually produce business value according to prioritization is something that we work with daily, I would say, with our top customers across industries, banking, insurance, retailer, automotive. We see this specific challenge every day.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you very much for sharing that one as well. I'm going to close that one. The next one we've got is from Richard. Where most apps are web-based, how would you recommend recording user behavior in production applications and feeding that info back into the dev and test teams? Great question.
Love it. I think that this is the next step, and especially with web-based application, there are many technologies that allows us to monitor those applications, the usage of the application, the hotspots in usage where we are not using, and then feedback all this into product management and delivery. It can be to improve user experience. It can be to change the interface in order for more functionality, needed functionality to be exposed. And it can be also a great tool for the testing team to know how to prioritize the next regression day and so forth, because they understand that out of the 100% functionality, most of the users are using those 20% or those 30%. So there is a lot of room of collaboration, technical collaboration between the production monitoring tools, and it can be service management tools, but it can also be business process monitoring tools, to the enterprise agile planning tools like our own ALM Octane and PPM, and quality management tools as well, of course.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So thank you for sharing that. Next, I'm going to come back to another question from Stephen. So thank you, Stephen, for the follow-up. Follow-up on Conway point. It's not just one culture across all teams, but respect for subcultures that exist in individual teams. Not all teams are the same.
I completely agree. I also, what we see in a typical enterprise is that it's the culture that might be different between different teams or line of business and so forth. It's the methodology, okay? There are, those guys that are working on a complex SAP system that doesn't need to change their methodology and mindset, the way they use application delivery, and it's also the technology. So even two agile teams or agile line of business, those ones are using Jira, those one are using Azure DevOps, and they all need to somehow produce a business value that is, the CEO should be satisfied. It doesn't matter which technology, which methodology, which line of business. So I fully agree that this is a challenge. We need to respect the innovation and the culture that is within the individual line of business, but we have to create the synergy in order to create real business value.
Yeah, Agile's not the goal. Successful
exactly.
outcomes are. So yeah, brilliant.
Exactly. Well said.
Thanks.
Great.
All right. Let's move on. We've got the next question in order is also from Stephen. Thanks. This is brilliant. We have CICD and continuous improvement. Would you agree we're not talking enough about continuous feedback, i.e. DevOps automation and defect and incident management?
I agree. And exactly like you just said, I think that the Agile methodology or the DevOps methodology is not the target. It's a mean to achieve business value acceleration and higher customer experience. Okay, so and the way to do it, if I had to choose just one phrase, it would be actually continuous improvement. And for that, I completely agree with Stephen. We need the feedback. So quality is all quality management. It's about providing feedback to development, to change or to produce higher quality software, right? The IT guys that actually run the software on the day-to-day, they need to feedback on the architecture, how to run the software with lower TCO, to have a more self-service product and so forth. So it's all connected. I completely agree that we should talk much more about how the value flows between the different phases, and how can we get as much feedback from users and other stakeholders into development and testing. Completely agree.
Yeah, it's a great one. I feel again that could be probably a discussion just on its own merit for a couple of hours. So thanks, Stephen. Brilliant. All right, the next question we have. So I'm marking off that one. Do you have any plans for predictive analytics powered by Vertica? That's coming from Jonathan.
So Vertica, I'll split it actually into two. AI is something that we are focusing for a long time now. Not sure who does the UFT session. I think it's or the functional testing AI session. I think it's Eran, my colleague. He will talk about our usage of computer vision in our functional testing suite. How do I author a test much faster using this AI capability, and how do I make sure that the tests are not actually broken when the application changes, because we know in an agile fashion the application changes much more rapidly. So a human being would know how to determine that the same button is now located here or there. But using traditional methods, for example, with functional testing, the script will break. So, for example, using computer vision is something that we do for more than 2 years now. Another aspect is using natural language processing. We have so much data that is gathered within our application lifecycle management software. We have to know better how to unlock the value of this data using technologies like machine learning and natural language processing in order to provide more value to our loyal customers that have been using our ALM software for many years now. So, and this is something that we are working on as well. Some of the capabilities are already out there. Whether we are doing that specifically with Vertica, to answer to the second question, yes, we are. In some cases, there are products that are doing that with Vertica, and we continuously work with the Vertica guys to explore new collaboration strategies as we mature our products.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, great. The next question comes in, another anonymous, but that's not a problem. Do you have any top tips on how to use SAFe with your products?
So first of all, there are movies and there are documents and a special collateral specifically for scaled agile framework with the Micro Focus tools. If I had to choose just two, those would be Micro Focus PPM, our product and project and portfolio management tool, and ALM Octane, our DevOps agile management and quality management tool. Those two tools were built with SAFe in mind. Okay, we have the SAFe related terminology within them. Like in my presentation, I talked about epics, I talked about programs. And even in Octane, you can go to the settings and just press a button that tailors or configures Octane in a safe manner. Okay. On top of that, like I said, there are movies and documents that specify how to configure and use those two products or individually to meet the SAFe needs, and how to integrate those tools with the broader ecosystem, which I'm sure every one of our people in the audience have. So if you're using Rally today for agile management, if you're using IBM Doors for requirements, whatever, we should use our tools, the Micro Focus tools, in the broader ecosystem and create the visibility and analytics that I was talking about.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that one. Next one, we've got one from Raymond. What tools allow a change of perspective from bottom up for the team to top down to support management reporting?
So I'll take example of ALM Octane. Okay, it's again our enterprise agile and quality management software. We bring a set of dashboards and KPIs and metrics that can be used from day one for you to go to the executives and to management and say, team, this is how I'm going to measure the portfolio execution or this specific line of business in an enterprise agile fashion. And those KPIs and metrics are across the SDLC. It's how fast we develop, how efficient are we, what is the ROI that we get from our automation, how do we better plan the next regression session? How mature is our DevOps practice? How much, for example, the build is failing, and so on. So metrics that will allow the organization top down to define how do we want to measure the individual teams. Then the organization will be aligned to do exactly that.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, and then we've got a question that comes in from Chana, I think I pronounce it. Apologies if I've done that wrong. How about documentation in Agile? We can't avoid test strategy, plan and test cases for quality testing.
That's a good one. So Agile, the Agile Manifesto says that we want to aspire for the code to document itself, and we prefer collaboration rather than documenting. It's all good. I'm a big fan of that. Okay, but we cannot drop the 20 years of quality practice that we had and say we're agile. It's not going to work. If you're going to do that, you will see that you will deliver faster, but on the expense of quality. Okay, so what I think is the only way is to just shift left quality practices to make sure that development and QA are working together from day one, that everyone understands what needs to be implemented in testing using technologies like BDD, and that testing should be specified or planned together with the actual implementation. So you will have just enough quality documentation and understanding before you or while you're starting the development. I think that once everyone will be aligned, we talked about the trio or the three amigos, the business analyst, the developer, the QA. I think once those three people will understand, will feel comfortable with what they have from a quality perspective, we have a go and we can start actually implementing.
Brilliant. Thanks very much indeed for that. And I think we've probably come to the end of the questions that have come up and been shared in the Slido. Omer, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. Oh, we've got one more question actually just come in just at the very end before I was just about to invite Dave back for the panel event. How about quality assuring every step? There should be no separate QA function, possibly.
So we see customers that or organizations out there that are eliminating what used to be called, and still in many organizations, the QCOE, the Quality Center of Excellence. The distance between this statement and having no QA is very, very long. Okay, I believe that quality practice must be there in the organization. So someone that is responsible to ensuring that high quality delivery is being met. And I believe that there should be people within the team, within the Scrum team or whatever Agile fashion you have, that are responsible for quality. Of course, their job is completely different than what it should or what it was 10 years ago. Much more automation than manual, much more technical towards continuous testing, and a lot of work with the CI. We can spend a lot of time on that, but there should be people that will make sure that the business value is actually being delivered and the high quality or high customer experience will be achieved.